Go.
1, 2, 3, 4. The first kind of stages in my, I don't know what to call it, a career, it sounds a bit naff, but like journey, it was, my brother got me into pretty much everything he listened to, I was on the back of it. And when he made me listen, like sat me down and made me listen to the Views debut album, that was it. That was like, aye, that is amazing. Then the following couple of weeks, Pete Dockery was playing at Picture House, went to that, and after that I think I attended about 20 View gigs within like 2 years. So the View were a massive part of like influence and just looking up to them, how mad they were and stuff. I was like, aye, that's for me, that chaos is for me. But aye, I mean, Tea in the Park, as you said there, it was massive for us. We used to, it turned into the, I was listening to a thing with Jeff Ellis, and he said it turns into the fifth biggest city in Scotland, 75,000 or something. It's crazy, yeah. So that's, as you say, it just it made a community for a whole weekend. And we went, 2009 was my first year. My brother's year was 2007 and 8, and then I managed to get my mum and dad to give me the green light to go. So he took me to 2009, and we went 4 years on the bounce at Balado. I can't even mind what year it finished, but I only went back once at Strathaven, and it just wasn't for me. Balado was the one. It was the absolute one. And it's sad to see it go. Transmit was kind of, it's like get out of jail free, but it's just no. It just doesn't, like, it is an urban environment, so it's just no being as good. as you say, Tina Park, King Tut's was just the tent for the full weekend. It was Jamie T, the Cortinas, and the View. Like, unbelievable. Like, we were in the tent like 2 hours prior to all that happening, the free coming on, because like we need to secure that place down front. Like, some of the best gigs I've ever been at Tina Park. Absolutely phenomenal. We supported them. What year was it? I think it was New Year 2018. I'm going to say La Belle Angel, and they played Tuts the night before. So you can imagine how late and how hungover they walked in that day. But we were just sitting at the side. We had actually sound checked at, I'd say, about 4 o'clock. I don't know why it was so early. We sound checked at like 4. The View walked in at like 5:30. Had to set up, sound check, then like they obviously covered their drums with like a cloth and like so it was just weird that we had set up because what were we first on? I can't even mind. But it was just weird how we had set up and like got ourselves comfy and they walked in so late, hanging, like literally pistols in the snow, his eyes, and I walked in so hungover and just took over the place. I mind Kyle was screaming for Jack Daniels and Coke for his dressing room. The guy's like, no, name me. I think they even locked him in the dressing room. He was just wild. They're loose cannon, but seeing them playing, like supporting them was just, I was in awe because they were such a big influence. Like, even had my hair like come back in the day. So, massive influence. Like, it goes back to meeting James. That was to be fair, Sweet Talker, the track, was recorded by Ronnie, who is a producer in Leeds, Bradford area. That was 2016 that was released, I'm sure. But there's parts of that recording that are still existent on the album. There's been a few changes, like we've redone the bass track and vocals and stuff's been redone. But so from there, that has been the recording process. So it was like 2017 was Time Is Now when we first met James, Maybank Studios in Glasgow. And from there, it's just kind of been, we done a session in Leeds at Chairwork Studios. We went over to Herbert Place when James was in Dublin. He moved to Black Mountain Recording Studios. That's his newest studio, and that's where we done the last 2 batches of tracks. So, in all honesty, the recording process kind of started in 2016. Then it's just been like dotted here and there. But the reason we kept like Sweet Talker and The Time Is Now is because at the time we were just kind of winging it. We had no real direction as such, and we didn't think the tracks received as much honour and hype as they should. So because they've matured with us and stuff, they've been on the journey. So we're like, yeah, it's our first bit of art. Let's keep them. We kind of we took what I'm trying to say here. We took influence for people in the music industry, the promotion company. They were like, well, you've got these tracks ready, and they says if they've been on the journey when you feel they're necessary to go on the debut album, then put them on. So that was it. Mine was made up. There's no real reason to write new material. There've been chops and changes over the years with personnel and stuff. So I was kind of like, it kind of is the same, but it was quite hard for me to explain with the chops and changes. We didn't want to like rename the band, but at the same time we kind of wanted to turn a new leaf. But there were still the tracks there, and we loved like The Time Is Now. We've played since it was written in like 2012 or 2013, and it's probably been first or last track in the set ever since. That's how long the track has been with us. So yeah, to put it as the opener, it was just it just made sense. It's grew arms and legs with us over the years, and as soon as James got it, just gave it a whole new lease of life, and obviously the speech and stuff. That was just is what it is. It's been talked about quite a bit, so it's good.
Yeah. I think from my perspective as well, I sort of came in after the album was already written and recorded,
Yeah.
and when I got the lads asked me to play keys, and Lee sent me over the file. It was just all the raw recordings, and I listened to it, and I'd seen them over the years. We'd played together for a long time, over the 10 years. But it was like, I'd only ever seen snippets, so I'd seen a single come out here, I'd see a new song out there, and when I listened to the album, I was like, wow, that's like a complete step above anything I'd heard for them over the years. So I listened to it, and I was like, to Lee, 100%, definitely.
I think it was getting the body of work together, because we had seen it in bit form, like it was just kind of scattered, single here, recording there, we've saved up some money, let's go do another couple of tracks, there's loads of tracks that we've got for like the lead session. Fuel the Fire, one of the last tracks on the album, we've actually got like a full band version of that, which it was fine at the time, but when you look back at it, you're like, why didn't we not just record a song that we had? It was just kind of experimental, but I think they're all part of the process, part of maturing as a band and bonding as a band. But the whole, getting that whole body of work together, and I think the first time we done it was like SoundCloud, make a playlist and listen to it through. And when you do that and then start jigging the tracks to suit like side A and side B, and like as soon as we got it in that form, we're like, we're not bad. That was kind of like, that was the whole process of like, let's make an album. Like we need to kind of start a clean slate, so delete all the singles off iTunes and stuff, and just let's get the LP was the main priority. Let's get the tracks organised into side A, side B, and as soon as we done that, it was like, let's release this. This is unreal.
It would be nice if every album you could go into the studio and just record the whole thing then. But when you've been grafting away at songs for 10 years, you've not got that luxury. You have to sort of scrape bits here and there, and a lot of the stuff's too good to throw out. So you just need to recycle it and can come up with new ideas, and that's what I think keeps the tracks fresh for us as well. Like playing them over and over again, it's mind-numbing after a while. But adding wee changes here and there, I think it makes them good for everyone.
It keeps them refreshed. It's definitely, they give them a new lease of life. Like, even when it came into the mixing process, we didn't think that much in mixing as such. But when we kind of had other people try here and there, and we took bits from their mixes to then alter the finalised track, and it just totally changed like the aspect of the song. Like we released Land of Dreamers as a single in 2019, and we went over to Ireland to record the last batch album track. Well, no, it was probably the first batch, sorry, album tracks. And we came up with an idea of making an alternative ending for that track. And as soon as like we got the bass riff, it was just like we all kind of stared at each other and went, oh well, that single's going to be ripped in soon, because that's unbelievable. So yeah, it's just, as I say, keeping things refreshed, and as Jack says as well, not chucking them away because we feel they're too good and we feel they've matured with us and stuff. So it's just great to have the final body work out, and art form as well on LP. It's just, that was the dream.
After exploring, searching and
with the invasion of guitar bands currently, and I think everybody's quite old school in a way, like on the creative aspect. I think vinyl sales are probably the highest since, what, 90s? I don't know. Maybe even earlier than that, I don't know. But the main reason that we wanted to create the album was literally so we could have it in our hands. It wasn't so that somebody would go onto iTunes and go, oh, listen to that track, or that one's got a star beside it, let's listen to that. We totally thought about the process how tracks slide into each other, and it was a massive part when we came to the mastering. Richard Dodd in Nashville, when he mastered it, we kind of wrote up notes. This is what we want. This is how, like, if you never try going into Sweet Talker, is that right? I've got that the right way around.
Yeah.
So when we play them live, it's just kind of Jordan hits guitar, it's feedback, and then we start rolling with the drums of Sweet Talker. Like, that's how we wanted it on that album, because again, you're constructing the set as you would want the fans to listen to it. So it was all about that process. We, as I say, the vinyl was the main part. Ending side A with Watch the World, kind of smoother, and then the transition between Thoughts into She's Not, it was just right. As soon as we plucked him into position, it was like, right, that's it. That's exactly it. That's exactly what we wanted to hear. And it was just, let's do it. Let's get this album out.
I think vinyl has a completely different feel to it as well. Releasing the album on the LP, I feel much better kenning that someone's bought a vinyl than I'll say, oh, I'll listen to it on Spotify.
Aye.
You ken that they're sitting, listening to the tracks, they're going to have to get up, turn it over. It's just like the romance of it is so much better than listening. You could be doing anything whilst listening to Spotify. So
there's the wee bit of effort they have to put in.
Exactly.
It feels like
and especially
we've done the graft you better.
Exactly. Especially like how Jack says, it is a bit of art that you're creating. You can hold it in your hands, you can see it. Myself, I only ever buy coloured vinyls, so that was another big thing that we were talking about, is like, what colour, and then we went for that sort of off-white cream colour, and then it just, once we started looking at the artwork and matching the artwork for the singles and everything, it was like a can of worms. We were like, right, what can we do next to make it even that step above? And now Neil's got his whole drum kit wrapped the same as the album.
Wrapped in cream, like the same colour. I think he even got it colour coded to the vinyl colour.
Cream vinyl wrap with the album artwork in the skin. It's brilliant.
It is brilliant. We look at James as a proper dad figure. Like, when you can imagine us, we're like kids in a sweetie shop when we go into a studio. You seen us when we walked in here, we're like, mics. Like, we love it, eh? So when the excitement level goes peak, he'll just speak into the mic gently and be like, right, lads, just chill out. Let's go for a pint and we'll chill out, because we're playing the song at like 148 BPM or something. So he's a proper dad figure, like arm around the shoulder, right, it's all going to be all right. He's always been the point of call where if you need a wee bit of inspiration or a wee answer to a simple question, he's the man for the job, especially when it comes to the production and whatever, the tracks. Even to the point of the early demos, he wasn't like, we were going to, we'll go into a studio and we'll get demos recorded. He's like, nah, what's the point? You've all got iPhones, put it in the corner of the room, press record. I'll tell you if it's a good track or no. I'll tell you what it needs. And he even edits the voice memos that we send him. So he goes, no, that middle eight needs to be here. And he'll just like, obviously it's rough, but it's like, as soon as you hear it right through, you're like, Jesus. So the production all the way from the recording on an iPhone to then taking that into the studio, and then it grows more arms and legs. Like, say, coming out with just random riffs, random backing vocals, there's always stupid stuff lying about in studios. So I'm like, rather than go to the desk and look how many knobs it's got, I'm into like the corner looking for the stupid banjo or mandolin, saying, I think we can put this in a track. Like, I'm always like that. And James always shoots me down in flames, to be honest, when I pick up some stupid instrument. I would try to put sitar on it, and I was like, no. We're not at that stage yet. We need another like 8 years or something.
I think especially like James, his experience speaks for itself, and behind every good band is an even better producer that I think the album has to get credited just as much to to him as it is any of us.
100%. He was a massive part of it. Like, what he's produced, 10 of the 11 tracks, and he's mixed on top of so he's done absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. Our sound was, we actually, at a point in 2018, probably early 2018, where we're all listening to the DMAs a lot, and we kind of lost touch with, so we all listened to like Black Rebel, Royal Blood, Foo Fighters, like quite hard hitting rock, but we kind of lost touch with it because we're that hooked on the DMAs. Try and think who else we're listening to. More like softer indie groovy stuff, like Foals and whatever, and we kind of lost touch with that. And when we sent him like a bunch of demos, he just like came back and was like, "What the?" Like, because I guess it was just pure influence, and then we just took a step back and went, "No, let's kind of focus on what we are most inspired by." And he whips us into shape like some boy. Love him. So the oldest written track is I'd say The Time Is Now. Then it would probably go If You Never Try. So If You Never Try was first released in like 2015 as a single. Just, again, we were just winging it. We didn't have any real direction as such. We were just 4 or 5 laddies for the pans. Like, we didn't really care what we were doing when we go into iTunes. Like, so that was released in 2015, so it was probably, I wonder if it was, I need to dig out some voice memos or lyric sheets, because it probably could be just as old as The Time Is Now. But yeah, so the reason behind the double A side, we were a bit cheeky and just took PR's word for it, that if a radio station approaches you that are leaning more towards the rocky side, then they can go with If You Never Try. If they go to like melodic kind of side, then they can take Our Design. That was kind of the thinking behind it, and we just agreed to it. That's it, fine, aye, whatever, do what you got to do. If they get your Radio 1 plays, then you've got to say yes to it, yeah. So that was kind of it. But aye, Our Design, it is definitely, I think it might be the oldest, the newest on the album. It was, I kind of wrote it for the band. It was more like, as soon as Jordan started playing the riff, we all kind of nodded at each other, aye, let's stick with that. Just kind of working away in the room. I record it on my phone and I'll take it away and write, because I need a bit of mind space to write, no banging drums and guitars. So I was writing away, and I didn't think the first time round I actually wrote it how I wanted, so I revisited it and just went, why not I just write a song for the band? The hard slogs over the years, and like literally the ups and downs that we've had, this is for us, it's Our Design, it's Our Design at a 5-piece rock band. And we all loved it. Like, as soon as I listened to a lot of Radiohead at the time, so it's quite got that vibe. And then we've had people come and say that it's Liam Gallagher-esque vocal in the chorus and that, so aye, that's just inspirations. There
was always a plan for another single, but the way that it was falling, the album was already delayed, nearly a year.
More than a year.
For the pandemic. So we had to sort of sit back and look and see strategically when we could release the singles on the build up to when we were going to release the album. And it just so happened that the album came out before this double A side. And we spoke to PR about what we could release, and they came back with the both of them, mainly because I think it was a hard choice for them to make. Like,
they were proper stuck between the two.
Their feedback was sort of like, it was half their team saying that one, half their team saying this one, and they had to they just said both. Why not the both of them?
Aye. It's a good choice.
It's a good situation to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. In the studio, well, as I said, I was listening to like a lot of spoken word stuff in a YouTube hole one night. Can't mind the boy's name, but it just stood out, and I just said, right, I need to remember that just for maybe next upcoming tracks. And we're actually in the studio a couple of weeks after it, and I just came out with it. I was like, right, what about if I introduced the song as like a motivational kind of speech? And then I actually suggested, I don't know why, but it was just probably because of the YouTube videos. I was like, I'll do it in like an American accent. And everyone just looked at each other like, why would you do that? I was like, I tell you, I like my accent. Like, obviously, I didn't mind my accent, but hearing your accent, like, I will not listen to this back because I can't stand listening to myself talk. It's just, a lot of people are the same. So when I suggested that, everyone's like, no, don't be fucking daft. Just let's do it as you would. Like, if you were in a changing room, 14 players, like, do it as you're going to do that, like, get everybody up for it. So that was kind of the thought behind it. Went for it, a couple of takes, bash. It was quite hard to time it, actually. So once I got in the second time, I thought it was out slightly at the end. So I was like, no, redo it. And James was just like, no way, that was the one. So I think it was straight after that, I was tracking vocal, lead vocal. And I got in 3 or 4 takes, and I was like, please delete that. That speech needs to go. And he's like, I'm going to put masking tape over the delete button. It's not going anywhere. And then I asked him to mute it. I was like, please mute it, because I've heard it 3 or 4 times, and once more, and I literally have to delete myself. Like that, I hated it. I really did hate it. And all the boys were like, I don't know, they were like, nah, let's just roll with it, because James was obviously thinking from a bigger perspective than me. He's obviously reached a lot more international levels than what we were in 2017, so it was a good selling point to his ears. He was like, nah, instantly, I know he's from Scotland. I know he's now Raj. I know he's aye. So that was kind of the thought behind it. So we muted it. It got to the end of the session, we're all listening to the track over. It was still muted. It came back from mastering, and the speech was there. I was like, oh my god, I don't know. We need to think about that. And the other boys were like, nah, that is absolutely brilliant. So I had to keep it in. I still hate it to this day, but hey ho. So for the first like 30 seconds of the album, you'll see me wander through the kitchen, and then I'll come back. That'll be when I've had my beer. So it's what it is. I didn't mind it, let's say, but I definitely hated it.
I think it's something that's been picked up by other people, that everyone else seems to absolutely love it. I'm included. Like, I think it's a brilliant way, especially to start not just the song but the whole album. It kicks off that whole journey of the rest of the album when you listen to it right through.
Aye, that was kind of the like agreement that I came to in my head. I was like, right, if we're going to do it, let's get out of the way with the first track. Nah, I'm kidding. I think it's a banging track to open the album, and it has got a motivational aspect to it. So, yeah.
I think definitely with that speech as well, it should be something that we now look at from the feedback to add in to our set live as well.
I was just about to say that. I've never done it live. That's quite bad.
Mix it up a wee bit. We'll get a wee megaphone.
I think
or something.
if I'm going to do it, I'll get the megaphone. I'm trying to think I've seen that I've done the megaphone. Quite a few bands actually. They always do the siren thing. Kind of got the siren on it. They always do that. It's got to be done. That'll be on the tour.
It's just it's a track that needs to be played as loud as you can possibly turn it up. And see, if you listen to it before a night out, you actually start like, I'm sitting there myself and I get all worked up, like buzzing for the night out. Brilliant. It's a wee bit motivation that you need.
Good. We still to this day didn't ken how that came about, but yeah, for them to use the track in the promotional video, I think it was released like the night before the playoff final. So I don't think, who even highlighted it? I think it was probably like 12 hours after that it was highlighted. It was our track, because they never like properly tagged us in it. God's sake, Brentford, but they never like properly tagged us in it. But it just kind of popped up on our Twitter. We listened to it, we're like, holy, that's unbelievable. Like,
especially for such a big day for them as well. Like,
I hope the players will listen to it in the changing room and that before. Like, that'd be cracking.
So we credit our success to Brentford's success to us.
So we're trying to get in contact with we have been in contact with Brentford, sorry. And one of the PR heads just said, not sure how it happened, hope it's okay. So I hope there's a few signed tops on the way or something. I don't maybe know that far, but anyway.
Some say Brentford won that game because of that song.
I know, that's definitely the team we'll be supporting next year. Brilliant. I love that. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Fabricated photos of the one that you love greatly, taking me far, oh fool, taking me far, oh fool. Well, something's got to change as you wash your life away. There's one thing I will say, she's not that fond of you. Cheating demon, the road of nose, being our main reason, taking me far, oh fool. Well, maybe you've seen too much of you lately. She's got you wrapped around the fingers so vaguely. You're taking me far, fool. You're taking me far, oh fool. In a hand not in the way, you're being led astray by the silly game she plays. She's not that fond of absolutely.